All right, everybody. So our last review of the day is going to be for the film Protector. Protector is a movie there starring Milla Jovovich. People know Milla Jovovich there. She was Alice in the Resident Evil franchise there. She was also there in Fifth Element there. And this one, she's playing a former military veteran there,
Mhm.
former military personnel there. And she's called Nikki in this there, and she's a person there, going on multiple deployments there,
Mhm.
devoted much of her life to the military, and it's missed a lot of quality time with her family, especially her daughter there. And we see that, now that she's back home, she wants to take care of her daughter, and maybe a little too much, maybe she's a little too
Mhm.
overprotective. And you have her daughter who goes out on the night, and there's a case of happening of being abducted there,
Mhm.
when she's at a bar, and now she's on a one woman mission to get her daughter back, and she'll do anything necessary there, killing whoever stands in her way there. And she also brings up the fact it's one of those type of movies that also opens up with a bunch of statistics about
Mhm.
kidnappings
Yeah,
and people who go missing.
and
And
and a lot of, like, very, like, clumsy narration where Mila Jovovich is, like, putting about as much emotion as she did in the entirety of the Resident Evil movies.
yeah, it's like her in like a black, just all black background, just looking at the
Mhm.
camera, going like spouting off all these stats about kidnappings and
Mhm.
everything. And you have 72 hours when a person goes missing, and after that 72 hours, the whole trail goes cold and everything like that. So it's like a race against time, so she can get her daughter back before she can never find her again. And of course, with her, killing all these people, all these bodies popping up, of course, police are gonna go like, well, what the fuck is happening?
Mhm.
And they're also on her tail as well there. Yeah, this, and I think we should do a spoiler talk because the ending is
You really can't talk about this movie and why it sucks so much without talking about the
Oh,
ending.
oh boy, I wanna hear this juicy detail.
Okay,
yeah.
so this movie in is 92 minutes long. So we're going along with this whole mission, this whole crusade. There's some like very terribly filmed action scenes with Mila Jovovich. It's like for a woman whose like main thing was how good at martial arts she is, I wouldn't be able to tell looking at this movie.
Mm.
Oh
And so
no.
so like 20 minutes into the movie, she finds her daughter and brings her home. Is like her daughter is like catatonic, is in bed. She leaves the house to go to the store, and then 5 minutes later, she gets kidnapped again, or the daughter's missing again.
Mm. Yeah.
What?
Y-
Um,
Oh, oh, just wait.
so the big thing about this movie, I'll just kind of spoil it right
Mhm.
there. I mean the basics. My thoughts on it before I really go into it. It's a super even more generic than something like War Machine, we should just talk about. It's like one of the most generic kind of basic action movies. You take, of course, these movies where a character's daughter is taken. Obviously, that's going to
Mhm.
remind you of what movie Taken. With
Mhm.
Liam
Yeah.
Neeson, right? And it's basically her version of trying to do something like that. Another weaker.
I think they had a joke in BoJack Horseman about a spinoff called Miss Taken.
Oh, really?
This is literally that movie.
And of course, like there was even a movie that came out with Jason Statham. What was that, last year?
Yeah,
Uh,
a
a
working
working
man.
a working man. That was basically the same thing. Human trafficking. That's especially that's big right now. Especially,
Mhm.
I mean, in the world of what's going on right now, and obviously it's very horrific. And that's obviously one of the worst things you can imagine that happens to your child is something like that could happen. So it's a very real fear there, and obviously it creates instant hatred for the protagonist,
Mhm.
even though if you set up you don't have any personality with them. You don't have anything about the antagonist. It's just like, well, they're a human trafficker. So automatically it's like, oh, well, yeah, of course I want her to fuck these people up. You know what I mean? So there you have that kind of going on. The action scenes are
Mhm.
not interesting. They're really filmed very basically and sloppy. There's one where Matthew Good, he comes into the movie.
Yeah,
He was her.
it's not Matthew Good, it's Matthew Modine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Matthew Modine. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Matthew.
Oh.
he is her Colonel Troutman from Rambo.
Yeah, exactly. It's the
Ah.
exact same type character. He
Mhm.
was her superior officer when she was in the military. He comes in and basically like Rambo to calm. He's like, I can bring her in, I can calm her down. Even though when he tries to, she's like, nah, fuck you.
Nah, fuck you.
I'm gonna do the. I'm still gonna do me. You know.
It's not the most egregious thing because while this is happening, Matthew Modine's character, he like calls off. He tells this police captain to call off the SWAT team that's about to intercept her, and and the next scene we see, she's already taken out that entire SWAT team, but we don't see any of that on camera. It happens off screen.
Yeah.
That's code for we didn't have money to shoot this action scene, so we're just going to show you the after effect. But this is extremely disappointing to hear because like Milla Jovovich can be a good action star. Like not all the Resident Evil movies are good, but I always think she is a good action heroine in those movies. But like, why it seems she just seems to have bad luck with these movies recently, where she just keeps getting stuck in these bad action movies, and it's just disappointing.
Yeah. I know she was in the sci-fi movie last year. I don't know how it was, In the Lost Lands with Dave Bautista. I meant to go see it. I didn't see it. I heard, of course, that was also bad.
It's that one was directed by her husband Paul W.S. Anderson. So
Okay.
it's basically like Resident Evil 9 without it being called Resident Evil 9.
And so yeah, I mean, so he comes in, calms her down, even though that doesn't work. Even though he built himself talking to these police like, I'm the only one that can bring her in, even though he fails at that. And then the people who have playing the police, they are terrible. They are really bad. I don't know who they. I forgot the names of the actors there. Especially the one guy that's the head of them. He's really bad. That one guy. I think his name is DB Sweeney. There. I haven't seen him before. But yeah, he's really terrible there, and his acting is so bad. So there's a whole thing with that. And at the end, so you think like all this time she's looking for a daughter, she's trying to get her back, and she's finally found her. And the police say like, well, if they got her daughter, why don't they just give her back to her? And then that's when he finally reveals, Matthew Modine. He's like, well, the thing is, she already found her daughter already, but her daughter was dead. And when she found her daughter dead, she mentally snapped and she broke and she couldn't handle it. And so the character, Milla Jovovich, he says that every time she goes to sleep and wakes back up again, she thinks her daughter has been kidnapped again for the first time. So
It's basically like 50 First Dates.
51st, it's like kind of like it's stupid Memento, I guess. When she goes to sleep, she wakes up there, and then and so she goes on a killing rampage every, I guess, 3 days straight. She'll not sleep and go on until she finds her daughter, and then she'll like imprint herself on these women who look like her daughter, kind of pale skin and kind of brown hair and everything. Like, oh, this is she'll like mentally think it's her daughter, but it's not. And she'll save them and save all, you know what I mean? But it's not. So she just constantly keeps going through this cycle. She's almost like this revenge spirit monster coming back, kind of.
I have to admit, this twist sounds amazing in a different movie. In this movie, it sounds pretty corny.
In a better movie, this twist would have made it. It would have been cinema. But when they revealed that, I audibly in my theater just went, "Oh, fuck off!"
Like it's fucking crazy. It's like, what the fuck? I mean, like it's in a different movie, it would have been interesting. It would have been like, oh, this is kind of like, this person battling with this, psychological issue and everything like that. But they just kind of cue it up for this kind of generic, action movie thing, this plain kind of action movie. What was some of your thoughts, Nick?
And I just watched this movie and I felt nothing. It was like the action sucks. The film looks very cheap. There's no interesting cinematography. Milla Jovovich. Just watching this, I have no idea how she has had the acting career that she has, because she is giving nothing in this performance.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, I think you would see this for something like you would watch something like A Working Man or Taken, even though Working Man was also terrible. But I think the reason why, and I was trying to think about, watching this movie and, thinking about Working Man too, is like, what made Taken really pop off? Like, what was the secret sauce in that, you had that kind of concept that it just kind of became this really super popular thing that, it spawned what, 3 sequels? Because it was taken was
Yeah.
4 movies or 3 movies?
Is three movies grand total,
Yes.
so two
Okay, so 2
sequels.
2 sequels.
Mhm.
What was it? Was the fact that he had a teenage daughter that was played by a woman in her 30s? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
What do you
he
think
had
it
a
is?
I think it was because you spent enough time with both Liam Neeson and with the daughter that you cared about them people before, the kidnapping happens. You got to know them as people, so you really felt the tragedy of, the whole situation that they're in. And with here, the kidnapping happens in the first 5 minutes, and all we get from, the daughter is that she is generic bratty teenager who, rightfully so, because, her mom has missed most of her life.
Yeah, she kinda, and then also it's added that the husband died, the father died,
Mhm.
so it's just her now, and she's had to come back home and kinda take more parental responsibilities. Oh, you gonna say something,
And
Nick?
and if I could add one thing about what made Taken work, I think part of the reason is because before Taken, Liam Neeson was known much more of a
Mhm,
dramatic actor. Because like,
mhm,
this is Oscar Schindler we're talking about here, and he's, like, kicking ass and taking names, so I think part of the Taken formula is the surprise about, like, "Oh, wait, this guy's, like, a badass?" Like, I had no idea, but, like, with Mila Jovovich, part of the issue, at least I think, is that all she does is action movies, more or less, so,
mhm.
like, there's not really a surprise when, oh, she's gonna go on a revenge tour. It's like,
Yeah, and,
okay,
like,
you did
and
this in Resident Evil.
yeah, and she has never been the kind of actor that could carry one of those movies. Even in the better Resident Evil movies, like, I think the 3rd one is probably my favorite of them.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Everybody in the cast around her is doing more work than she is.
Mm.
Well, and the 3rd one also has, like, a more interesting
Mhm,
premise that it goes totally off script with the games, but it has a more interesting premise, and it kind of isn't afraid to get a little weird,
mhm,
but you are right about all that for sure.
Yeah. And like I said, the daughter, I mean, she's just, I mean, even though she's kind of right to feel, I mean, she's just a bratty teenager there.
mhm.
The mom, I mean, yeah, it's a little kind of ridiculous. She's doing a whole birthday party, the girl's 16, but she treating the birthday party like she 8 years old. She got, she's got little silly balloons and stuff, cake and everything like that. And then she goes to this bar, and she gets drugged by George Michael there, and everything. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, you could have. I mean, the way it goes is like, what the fuck, like that twist is like, huh? And then it could have been for something more interesting, but yeah, it's just kind of wasted here. Um, and like I said, if you wanted something like, hey, I have like maybe I love taking type movies
Mhm,
or the beekeeper or those type of things like that, just kind of those kind of beat 'em up type movies. I mean, just sit
Mhm.
at home, watch The Bluff on Amazon Prime. I mean, really, I mean, that's
or
that's
just
much better.
or just rewatch Taken.
Or rewatch
Right.
Taken again, or watch Taken on a plane, Taken on a train. Where else he's doing Taken at a ship?
Oh.
Whatever the fuck he did so many of these Taken kind of ripoffs there. Yeah. But so for me, I just kind of give this. Mm, I give it a waste of fucking film for me. What
Yeah.
about?
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. There's just for no, as generic and bare bones as a concept as, the whole revenge thriller, you got to have something in it to, keep it interesting, and there's just nothing here. This is by definition a waste of fucking film.
Mm,
I have to imagine that the whole thing with the twist made this more interesting, at least conceptually, than it did in
Mhm.
execution. And it's just like, that is, it's way too, it's so disappointing to see that this really potentially interesting idea is totally wasted on a this nothing burger of a film.
yeah. It's kinda like almost like kinda like The Crow, where The Crow comes back and he's, like, motivated by, like, revenge and getting revenge. Like,
Mhm.
she's like this, yeah, like this creature of revenge that can't
Mhm.
stop. And it's like that's kinda interesting like
Yeah,
this and
don't besmirch The Crow by bringing up this movie.
yeah. Good old The Crow there, man. Hey, man, The Crow besmirched itself with, Bill Skarsgård. It already did that
Don't
already.
remind me.
Well, the
Yeah,
Crow besmirched itself by having sequels. Let's be real.
Mhm. Yeah, you're not wrong.
so 2 waste of films for Protector.
Yeah, it's like this, Mercy, and Scream 7 are like my worst of the year already.